Hey guys, welcome back to another character breakdown. Today we are going to be going over Luna. I know it's been a little bit of a minute, but after I did the ginormous recording session that I did, I wanted to really make sure that this next breakdown was very, very good, and it definitely took me a while to get this one correct. Luna is a very unique character in what she does. I really like her kit, and my biggest problem that I ran into was building her correctly. I was having a hard time building her mainly because I was just not getting the good rolls on her gear, is my big thing. However, I will say that now that I have her kit kind of figured out, I'm willing to do the breakdown. There's a couple different ways you can do it. I'm actually going to pull up the second way in just one moment. Let me... Hold on. Give me one quick second here. I should have done this before, but I did not. Okay. So, I have my build for Luna, and that's what I'm going to show you. And then, I have what kind of everyone else is using. Or kind of what other people have kind of put together. And I'll just compare and contrast what I have versus what other people did. And kind of tell you guys which one I would probably... I have mine for a reason. But if you're not doing it for my creative mad scientist ways, I would do it the different way. My bad. My chair creaked. Oopsies. So, she is a water element. She is a defender. If you guys didn't know, if you do the filters water and defender, you get 3. And we've had Veronica as our only 3-star, as our base 3-star defender. And then we have Ritri here, which doesn't really count. But now that we finally have another water defender that isn't Veronica, it makes it a little bit nicer because now you're not locked in with Veronica. The only downside that I can think of is that I don't know if Luna has the ability to do what Veronica does with Maskerless Guardian. I have yet to test that part, but I mean, I think she could do it realistically. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, her S1 is called Moonlight Slash. Attacks an enemy, and if the caster has a barrier, so if she has a barrier, she deals an additional attack. After attacking, there is a 70% chance to trigger a dual attack by the ally with the highest attack. If she does her additional attack, the dual attack chance increases by 30%. So, she attacks. If she has a barrier, she does the additional attack. When she does attack regularly, there is always a 70% chance that she triggers the dual attack. However, if she also does her additional attack, it basically means that she attacks, does her additional portion of her attack, and then also does a dual attack from her allies. Again, with the highest attack, that way you are benefiting the most. And you can also kind of plan that out if you really want to.
Is my dear Premier dozing off? Then I'll just make sure their wallet is safe.
Oh, well, aren't you just kind of a jerk? I've never heard that voice line before. Her S2, Hero's Emergence, removes 2 weaken effect from all allies and grants a barrier for 3 turns. I believe the 2 weaken effect is essentially any kind of debuff. I think that is kind of what that is going for. Additionally, increases the priority gauge of all allies except the caster by 30%. Barrier strength increases proportionally to the caster's max health. So bigger her health, the bigger the barrier, and increases the priority of everybody by 30%. You have to get it max level for that, though. This is nice because it has a cooldown of 2 turns. So she uses it, everybody else gets to go. And then her next turn, she does her S1. And then the next turn, everybody gets to go again. And then her next turn, she can repop this. So everybody should realistically have a barrier. And that's why it's a barrier for 3 turns. And it's a cooldown of 2 turns. Because they're not expecting you to realistically have a very fast Luna. Is my understanding of it, at least. Her S3, Someday I Will Reach the Moon, has a cooldown of 5 turns, attacks all enemies, and with a 100% chance grants unbuffable on all targets for 3 turns. At level 5, that's how I get the 100%, and then it also enhances the unbuffable by ignoring the resilience. So you can just ignore somebody's immunity. No, that's not how that works. You just ignore their resilience. So basically, if it hits, it always does the effect, which is nice. She has a chain finish effect, recovers 25 chain points after attacking. That's kind of it. And as her dual attack effect, she grants a barrier for 1 turn proportional to the caster's max health after attacking. So just another way for her to get a barrier if you really need it with dual attacks. I doubt that she'll get popped in your dual attacks because you probably won't have her all that high. Her Transcend stars are a little disappointing, I'm not going to lie. Plus 3% ally team resilience, plus 1 chain passive weakness gauge damage, burst level 3, and then just plus 3% ally team resilience again, 25 action points at battle start. Nothing too crazy. She doesn't have anything absolutely game breaking. For her exclusive equipment, reduces fire damage taken by 20%, which is nice. It's always nice when you can reduce, some damage that way. Water allies dual attack weakness gauge damage plus 70%. So whatever their weakness gauge damage is, you increase that by 70%. So if you're hitting for 3, what 70% of that, realistically that's 2, so they're actually doing 5 instead of 3. It's a nice little touch. And then at her plus 10 enhancement, she just increases water allies max health by 30%, which is not too bad. It also procs for her, so her health is also going to go up by 30%, which allows her to get an even stronger barrier to everybody. For talismans, realistically, you probably want something like probably like Vanguard's Charm, maybe. Vanguard's Charm isn't too bad. If you're just using her for PvP, Tactician's Charm isn't bad. Saint's Charm for her also isn't bad either, for generating chain points for using non-attack skills. And this is where we are going to get a little bit different, so prepare for your eyeballs to explode out of your head. This is what I'm currently using her for. This was at least what my thinking was. This is how I'm building her. I don't think you realistically should build her this way. So I'm using Exquisite Death and with a defense because I'm going to try to increase all my allies' damage by her defense. By cranking up her defense, it essentially makes it to where her allies, which are going to be the ones doing the most damage, are going to be buffed up as much as I possibly can get them. Just another way to increase my allies' damage, on top of her ability to trigger dual attacks that are going to let them go more often, on top of cranking it up by her defense as well. I'm using Unholy Exultate to reduce the enemy team attack by 10%. Another way to kind of strengthen that barrier. Excuse me. Just another way to extend that barrier a little bit longer, because that essentially makes it to where the barrier might last 10% longer. Or maybe just at least take 10% less damage, And from bosses, that's not too bad. Plus, I got a pretty gnarly defense substat on it. So, I'm running her with speed gear. I'm trying to max out her speed. It's not really working too well here. But there's a plus 15 on these boots here. But I've been rolling these like crazy, trying to get something good. I think I haven't picked one of these yet. I think I was going to pick Evasion to try to roll for some speed, just because I like her having some attack and some crit chance and health, obviously. If I could get a couple more of these to maybe be some more defensive substats, that would be nice. But I'm trying to get her to have really high speed, maybe not max speed, but really high speed. As much defense realistically as I can crank out. I didn't want to do defense gear, but I'm playing with that idea currently. Plus 100% crit chance, as much crit damage as possible, and a good bit of accuracy to make sure that I'm not going to be missing. An attack is kind of last. But how most people are building her instead are they're using, let me see here, Force Field Generator or Talisman of Anomalies. Let me double check to make sure that is what I'm thinking of. So, Talisman of Animosities. I think it's funny it says anomalies in my little sheet here. But Talisman of Animosities, so plus 5% priority to the caster when using a single target skill, allowing her to get more turns faster because she's able to just... Her S1 is going to be your primary way of dealing damage. And then Force Field Generator gives her barrier immediately every time she does an action, so realistically you don't have to use your S2. You always have that barrier up, which is a really nice little touch. The next thing is her accessory. According to my thing here, Blue Gem's White Ring isn't a bad bet, or Unholy Exultate, which is what I'm using if you're trying to focus speed. Coward's Treasure also isn't bad if you're trying to build that HP percentage. And the reason why that's nice is if something else gets hit, then she counters attacks with her S1, and if she has her barrier, then that also still procs the dual attack as well. So it's just another way to get some more dual attack damage out. And the talismans right here. Sage, Vanguard, Saint are the talismans that you could realistically do. What a couple people have suggested for gear sets is running speed or counterattack, depending on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to really build in that counterattack, you could totally do that with like Coward's Treasure if you wanted to, and like Force Field Generator, and basically always have a barrier, always counterattack anytime anybody gets hit or anything ever. Or you could just run speed if you wanted to, which is what I'm doing. Stat priorities are typically as follows: speed, health, crit chance, accuracy, and attack. I'm prioritizing speed, a good meta crit rate, and crit damage, but instead of health, I'm kind of focusing more on defense for the damage bonuses. That's kind of what I'm doing. I know a lot of people kind of don't want to do that way, and I'm fine with that. I just also didn't have a good force field barrier anywhere, a good force field generator anywhere. I mean, if I do this, and then I do, I guess I could just do that. And then if I just go through, I have a force field generator, but that's defense right there. I must have just got this one. I must have genuinely just got that one like the last couple days. Oh, and there's another one. So I could switch to like force field generator if I really wanted to, but this one has a perfect speed substat, which is why I wanted to keep it. So I'll probably just end up re-rolling it eventually. Maybe. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. She's actually excelling very, very well in against the joint boss currently. Let me show you what I have been doing. So I've been running Luna, Karen, Tamara, and who else have I been running? I was not running Roxy. Oh, I remember. I know who I was running. I was running Miva. So this is the core I've been using for this joint boss. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give it a go real quick. Make this a little bit of a longer one, just so you guys can kind of see. This is kind of a breakdown and a showcase altogether. But this is just showing off the joint boss at the same time. I thought that one might be a little nice, just to show off the joint boss a little bit as well. What's nice about Meva is that Meva allows 2 other characters to attack as well, which is kind of the main reason of why I like bringing her. Logos, 49,000 from Car in there. And this is the downside of like using what I'm using instead of Force Field Generator is I had to do the barrier that turn in order for me to be able to do anything, because otherwise it just doesn't work. So there's Tamara being an absolute savage right now. Look at that weakness gauge damage fall. Like that definitely hurts, but
shall we do this for real now?
I'm just gonna do this normally. Bam! 15,000, not bad from her.
I can do it.
Alright, and then we have this little thing. We do have an attack debuff currently, which is a little disappointing. And I don't have a way to cleanse that right now, which is the only thing that I'm kind of running into, is the reduced attack. But I mean, for the most part, we can kind of beat through it. Karin doesn't really care about that. She just kind of attacks and holds W. But you can also, but we have Meva to cleanse, so Meva cleanse is really nice because we can just get cleaned up really nice. And she still has 2 turns of her barrier, so we can do this for 2 more turns. We can just go straight for this. 26,000, not bad. 93 in total, not bad at all. She still has her barrier intact, so we're chilling.
Focus fire. Copy that. Taking my shot.
Wham.
Nice.
Defense debuff.
Shall we do this for real now?
We'll just pop this again.
Better watch your head. Moonbeam clean.
Kind of no reason not to.
Assessment complete. I'll demonstrate my research results.
I'm gonna hit it with this, just because I don't think I'll get another turn with Karin. Just dropping the casual 50 bum. Just the casual 50k right there. Don't get me wrong, this is kind of far from perfect, but this is probably the best. This is the best kind of run that I have been able to get. I also haven't really touched a lot of water units. I'm sure you could probably do better with like Roxy instead. But this is probably the best run that I've gotten. I mean, 983,000. You can see Karin is carrying 553,000 from my Karin. And if you guys know, my Karin is kind of crazy, mainly because I'm a mad scientist and I made my Karin wild. So, you know. Don't forget to be doing this every day, you guys, just so we can get these rewards going. These are nice rewards for you guys. And then being able to come into the event shop, go into the joint challenge, and being able to buy all of these is super nice. I mean, I've had these bought for a little bit. This resets literally tomorrow, I believe. So definitely be excited for this. Actually, it might reset in a couple hours after this video goes up. Because if I do this right, the video should go up at like 8 or something in the morning. That's when I like to upload them at least. Don't forget to keep doing your outer reward boards as well. You do kind of want a gun for the nice 6-star talisman selection box. Those are kind of hard to find. But go at your own pace. I mean, this is kind of what I've been doing. It's kind of all over the place, but you know, we have 6 days left. So I might be able to actually clear the board out completely this time. I tend to not be able to. But with that, I'm going to leave this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate everything that you guys do, all the amazing support. I know there's been only a couple of you guys that tend to stick around and watch these videos sometimes, and I'm amazed that some of you actually do end up watching toward the end. Looking at YouTube analytics, a lot of you guys tend to leave around like the 30-second mark, and that's fine. I don't really care that much. It is nice that some of you do tend to watch to the end. Yeah. If you guys have any advice for any more videos to come, please leave them down in the comments below. I will gladly take some feedback. I'm excited for the anniversary that's upcoming. As you can see, I'm kind of hoarding for it right now. Sitting on 21k. Hopefully the anniversary banner is a good one. I'm crossing my fingers, you guys. I really, really am. But thank you guys. Maybe share this video to some other people that you maybe want to get them into the game. Let them know that I got a whole channel dedicated to this. You know, get these videos spread around. I mean, I post them in the Discord most of the time. Or at least I try to. I post them in the main Discord all the time. Please spread this channel around. It would really, really help. I'm trying to hit 100 before June. My birthday's in June. I'd love to hit 100 subs before my birthday. That would be the best birthday present ever. And if I do that, I will do a big video on my birthday or around my birthday to kind of celebrate that. So with that, I'm going to leave this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.